Hey everybody, I wanted to make a video to show you what my craft room setup looks like because if you're like me, you've spent some time on the internet looking at other people's and trying to get some ideas. So I'll go through what my Glowforge setup is first, and if you don't care about the rest of it, then you can just skip out on the end of the video. So first of all, my Glowforge here is on top of a coffee table that I got from IKEA a while back. I don't think they sell this anymore, but just an idea to look into coffee tables. I like it because it has these slots on the front for some of my wood storage and also most importantly that it's on wheels. Since I had the Pro model of the Glowforge, it was important to be able to roll the table around in my room because if I'm using the pass-through slots, then my material will stick out of the back of the Glowforge and otherwise it would hit the wall. But since it's on wheels, I'm able to rotate my Glowforge perpendicular to the wall and have plenty of room. The Glowforge is about 39 inches long by 28 inches deep, so when you're looking for a table, make sure that it can support the weight of the Glowforge and also the size. I keep a little box here with my honeycomb pens and magnets that help me hold down material inside my Glowforge. I also have a small little Wyze camera here. It's about 20 bucks on Amazon, and that allows me to look at the image of the Glowforge bed so that I don't have to stand over it. I just live stream the Wyze camera to my cell phone and then I can view the live stream while sitting over at my desk. And then I have my masking tape, which is what my camera is also sitting on. Here I have my inline fan button that turns the fan on and off for the inline fan and it has several different speeds. This right here is my Switchbot. So when the button lights up to print from my Glowforge, I just have a Switchbot app on my phone. I hit the button on my phone and the Switchbot activates and presses the button for me. So I actually don't even have to get up to turn on the fan, press the button or anything. Just when it's done, I get up to unload it and that's that. The inline fan, which a lot of Glowforge users upgrade to, helps reduce the noise level that the Glowforge puts off and also helps move more air so that you can have less of a smoky smell in your room. This model is the AC Infinity Fan S6, which is the one that most Glowforgers I see going with. And of course, I'll drop a link to that in the description as well. This is my setup here. The first thing I have is the blast gate, which is made out of black acrylic. And what this does is it has this door here that you can slide back and forth to close off your Glowforge from the vent that's running outside. Some people had problems with moisture condensation getting inside their machine, so I just wanted to have that extra measure since I live in a humid area. So when it's out like that, the blast gate would be open so I'm free to vent out the window. What's coming off the Glowforge is 4 inches, so I have a 4-inch hose, and this is an upgraded hose, which I'll drop the link to. This is not the hose that comes with the Glowforge. And then I have a lot of foil tape here because you want to seal up all of your seams really well. And this reducer is 4-inch to 6-inch because the fan is 6 inches in size, but again, off the back of your Glowforge is only 4 inches, so you'll need to buy a reducer to make that transition. And you can run your hand along any of the seams and make sure that there's no air leakage. And also, especially around these connection points in this bracket here, that's the bracket that holds in the fan. So I taped that up really well because I could feel some air movement underneath there. And you want to make sure this arrow is the direction of your airflow. So it should be pointing in the direction to move out your window. So on this half of the vent, I have a 6-inch tube to a 6-inch PVC piece that runs out my window. Originally, when I set this up, I had the 4 inches from the Glowforge and also reduced it 4 inches on this side, but you do not need to reduce it on this side that runs out to the window. It will further reduce your airflow capabilities the more you reduce it. So I would go ahead and recommend buying the 6-inch hose to run out the window and don't reduce it further on this side of your fan. And probably the most important thing when setting up your infinity fan is to think about the most direct path you can get to get the vent outside your window. You want to have as short of a path as possible and also to make the least number of bends as possible. It's restricting airflow every time you have to make a turn. So this was as tight as I could get this and still make that turn there, and then you have a little bit of a 90 degrees coming off the back of the Glowforge as well. So keep that in mind to do a direct path and only have as few bends as necessary. And the method I'm using right here to vent out my window, since we have single pane old windows in our front, we were able to bust out a piece of the glass in this one area here, and I replaced it with a piece of clear acrylic. So I cut the piece to size on my Glowforge, cut a hole in it, and then glued this PVC fitting in that hole, and then just clamped the hose on there. So I have a really good seal, there's no extra air coming back in, and my window doesn't have to be open and able to vent. I do still have the screen on the other side. You can leave your screen on or take it off. Just make sure it's not restricting your airflow. And I'm going to jump back here for a second and do a freeze frame because I want to mention that if you do have the Pro model and plan on rolling it around your room into another position, then you want to think about how much hose you have available to do that as well. So that's why I have this piece of tape that extends onto my black hose, because that tape is holding up my extra that I need for when I rotate into the position to use my pass-through slot. Keep that in mind, and I just tape up the extra to keep it scrunched up, so again it has that short distance that I'm needing here, but also I can lift that piece of tape and have access to more hose when I move it into the other position. And I also wanted to show you my original setup. This is the contraption that I used when I first got my Glowforge, so if you don't have a window opportunity like this would be a good thing to use. So first what we did was cut a board the length of our window, and then we cut a hole in it and screwed this PVC pipe part on. We also put on a handle so that I could take it out of the window when I needed to. And around all the sides we put this weather stripping so that it gets a good seal between your window and your board so that none of that airflow is coming back into your house. To use this, you would lift up your window and then put this in the bottom, and then you'll want to close the window back on top of the board. Then you'll just connect your hose to this PVC part and clamp it on there. And if you needed to remove this board, you could lift your window up and then lift the handle and lift the board up and out of your window. So I would mostly only worry about removing this from the window if we were going to be gone for a long time. Otherwise, I just left it in the window all the time. And a hindsight tip, use a color that actually goes with the color of your windows. And up here, your window is going to have a crack, as your windows are open, these two parts will separate, and you want to think about the airflow that's able to come back in there too. And you can use more weather stripping or tape to seal that up. So recap, I have my 6-inch hose here that goes to my AC Infinity S6 fan, and then my reducer from the 6 inches to the 4-inch with my 4-inch hose that goes to the 4-inch connection on the back of my Glowforge, and my blast gate, which is optional but a good idea.
Okay, Google, turn on Infinity Fan.
Okay, turning Infinity Fan for GF on.
If you decide to use an inline fan, you don't have to do any physical modifications to your Glowforge machine. All you have to do is turn off the built-in Glowforge fan by going to your Glowforge user interface and click on these three dots, and you'll see the Glowforge air filter attached toggle button. And once your inline fan is installed, you want it to be switched on to teal. And now your internal fan is turned off and you're ready to roll with your inline fan. So if you have any more questions about the inline fan setup, just drop me a comment below. And the other things I have on my Glowforge table are my Wyze cleaning wipes. I also have 2 pairs of the laser goggles from Glowforge. Now on to the rest of my craft room setup. I have a standard laser printer here. I'm hoping to get a sublimation printer sometime in the future. This gray container is Alex from IKEA. It holds a lot of my proof grade material, and you can see that it fits a pretty good stack in there. So it's deep enough and also wide enough of a drawer to fit your proof grade size materials in. And I've just labeled these drawers using vinyl from my Silhouette machine. I have my heat press over here with some onesies that I need to press for a baby shower. And this table it's on is also from IKEA, and I love it because it has drop leaves on both sides of the table. So if I need to press a shirt, I can just lift this leaf up, and to save space when I'm not using it, I can just drop the leaf down again. I do have an air purifier machine in this room, but just so you know, the Glowforge doesn't make it do anything crazy. The blue light indicates that it's good air quality, and if it were bad air quality, it would turn red, and it doesn't turn red when the Glowforge is on. The only time I see it turn red is when we're cooking breakfast, because the kitchen is on the other side of this wall. So a lot of people worry about air quality, but I haven't had any issues. I have another Alex stuck under the other leaf of my table, and I just store some more of my Glowforge materials and things that I like to keep close by on hand. And every little space I can put storage I have. These are just containers I found at Walmart that fit perfectly under that table. So I remodeled my room, and if you want to see what the before pictures look like, I'll put a slideshow at the end of this. Here is my dog, Lincoln, and before my old room setup, we had a Pompazon chair that took up a lot of space because, as you can see, there's not a lot of room between my work table and the wall. So I had to get rid of his Pompazon and got a storage container and put a dog bed on top of it. So now I have extra storage, and he's still happy. And he has his picture on the wall here, have photos of both my dogs I created using some vinyl and paint on canvas. This unit here is the Calyx from IKEA, and you can buy the doors and drawers separately. It just comes as a frame basically, and you decide how many doors and drawers you want. And I've also labeled these with vinyl from my Silhouette machine, so I have a combination of different doors and drawers on here as well. Over here I have a smaller Calyx, and it's the same deal with different doors and drawers. Here is also a thin Calyx. I have these trash bags in right now because I'm still in progress of redoing everything in my craft room, and it's full of my vinyl right now, and I'm hoping to make something on my Glowforge that will insert into there so that my vinyl won't be all wadded up like it is right now. And I like to collect different crafting machines. So I have a Brother, I think it's an SC400 that does a little bit of embroidery, a Xyron I got for Christmas and still haven't even used, and I have a laminator here as well. And here, of course, is my Silhouette Cameo. I have a paper cutter, and I also hang my mats on the wall so that they don't take up any cabinet space. And hanging over here is another piece of furniture I got from IKEA that keeps my hangers that I engrave and also my hats that I like to do the leather patches on. And I have an old kitchen table I use as my workspace. So this is where I'll do all my painting and actually project assembly. And then another desk with my chair right there where I do my computer work, my designing, and making these videos. My craft room is another work in progress and probably always will be, but I'm very happy with the upgrades we were able to do this year, especially the new waterproof hard surface floors that makes it easier to move everything around instead of having this old carpet. While you're checking these old photos out, I want to mention the Facebook group that I've gotten started called Glowforgers Using Silhouette Studio. And if you're not a member yet, I hope that you will join us there. We're able to share photos of our projects and ask questions when you need to share a photo or an example of something that you're trying to work on. So, of course, always leave me a comment here on YouTube if it's something that I can answer in words. But if there's something that you'd like to show a photo of, then please check us out in that Facebook group, Glowforgers Using Silhouette Studio, and you can have other people have the opportunity to help you out as well. And of course, I would love it if you went there and showed photos of your craft room because I'm always looking for new ideas for my work in progress. And last thing, thank you to Angela J again for using my referral code when purchasing her Glowforge. If you want to save money on the purchase of your Glowforge, please look at my referral link in the description below. You save money on any model of the Glowforge, and I get the same in return to purchase more materials. Thank you so much for watching, and please leave me a comment below if you have any questions.